welcome back. I know it's been a while since I've done a YouTube video. It's not new. I was grounded for a short time because of my bad grades. But here now. Let me try and get this situated real quick because it's not usually the angle you guys are at. So more up there. Yeah, that's usually where it is. So I've had a lot of going over decks, really, Pokemon decks, and it's mainly been about Pokemon. And while I'm still on the topic of Pokemon, I'm gonna plan on doing a Nuzlocke soon. Don't know when. But I'm gonna do a Nuzlocke on Sword, because I do not plan on doing one on Violet because it is open world and I've never done a Nuzlocke before. So I'm gonna go for Sword, and I'm looking forward to making a Nuzlocke. But anyways, since we're done about Pokemon, I'm not done. I'm not done making videos. Just I'm taking a break from Pokemon, so I'm making Yu-Gi-Oh deck. I'm going over my Yu-Gi-Oh deck and all the cards that I added to this deck, because this is actually a structure deck. For people who don't know which structure deck, it is a Dark World. It is the Dark World structure deck, which I am actually a pretty big fan of Dark World monsters. They look very cool, and just, they're really cool cards. Okay, so, but if you want to know the cards that go into this deck, you can look them up, but, yeah, you can look at it. If you know which one they're in, then you know, but there's a lot of cards here, and it might end up being 30 minutes of the video, and I don't want to edit for 30 minutes. So instead I'll be going over all the cards that I added and why I added them. And so, for people who don't know, the main mechanic in a Dark World deck is discarding cards from your deck, your field or your hand into the graveyard. And there are some cards that banish cards in here. So I'm kind of going off of these with all of these cards. Well, yes, they're quite a bit more than you probably were expecting, or a lot less. Still, I feel like they go really into it, because either they go really good with this deck, or they're just good cards I wanted to add. So, starting off, we're going to be doing my spell cards, which are these blue cards right here, for people who don't know. I actually added a lot of them in. So, yeah, I added 3 monsters, 3 traps, and 6 spells. So, starting off with the spell cards, the ones that make sense with me are Foolish Burial, like I said, mainly discarding cards from deck, field, or hand, and activating their effects. Most of them is, if this card is discarded by a card effect, you can special summon it, or something like that. Or you can get rid of another another card on the field, either field, whatever, something like that. So Foolish Burial, what it does is send one monster from your deck to the graveyard, which is a very easy way to get Grapha, who is basically the main person in this deck, the main monster. It says you can special summon this card from your graveyard by returning one Dark World monster you control to the hand. So say you have just a random Dark World monster on the field, and you use Foolish Burial to find this card, put it in the graveyard, and then use his effect to special summon him, but take that card back into your hand. Um, and also, yeah, it's, I won't even say the also. It's just a really good card to pair up with half, with basically all of with the entire deck, which I'm surprised they did not add this in. Which I kind of get it. It's all the cards have to do with Dark World, but Foolish Burial is a very good card for this deck. And Foolish Burial, exactly. There are the extra Foolish Burial cards, which is, I'm pretty sure it's like, put extra monsters, like monsters from your extra deck, so fusions, links, synchros, all that kind of stuff, into the graveyard. But you have to discard cards as well. If this card, when your opponent activates a monster, yeah, no, it's a lot. It's a big description, but I have a feeling but I'm pretty sure it doesn't allow you to special summon it from the graveyard. Wait, you special summon when your Grapha Dragon Lord of Dark World is banished or in your graveyard. Okay, yeah, so it's not special summoning that card, special summoning Grapha Dark World. So that's why I'm going with Foolish Burial. Next one we have is Supply Squad, which is kind of good, and also it's situational, really, so I should say. Once per turn, if a monster you control is destroyed by battle or card effect, which is basically mainly all this, so card effect is what you're going to need to go for this one, and draw one card. So you can use this card whenever you use another spell card. When, like, say you have Foolish Burial. Wait. Okay, no. Never mind. Don't use Foolish Burial with it. It'd be a complete waste. Because Supply Squad is only with control the monsters you control, meaning that they have to be on the field. But yeah, it's basically card effect like other cards in this deck. If it's gotten rid of with a card effect or battle, you draw one card. So it's pretty good, because if you draw the right card with that, it can really do some. It can be pretty good. Allure of Darkness. Again, this is a pretty situational card. So it goes good. Wait, hold on, let me see. Yeah. So it does not go. It does not go good. It does not pair up with one of the monsters I added, but it's still. It's pretty good in this deck. It says draw 2 cards, then banish 1 dark monster from your hand, or if you do not have any in your hand, send your entire hand to the graveyard. So instead of discarding a Dark World monster, you must banish one. Which is not what I'm focusing on right here. It's mainly you send your entire hand to the graveyard. And so, which it actually goes pretty good with a monster right here, Minar, but I'll get to him in a second. So you draw 2 cards, which isn't bad, but at the same time, you don't have to put it in here. It doesn't really pair well with, it only really pairs well with 1 card and 1 monster, so it's not like you can repeatedly use him. While with spell cards, you can use them once, you can use as many as you want per turn, I'm pretty sure. Well, you can only lay 1 monster down per turn. So, and then Dark Corridor, which, just like Foolish Burial, I'm surprised they did not add it here. It is literally a Dark World card. It says add 1 Dark World monster from your deck to your hand, then discard 1 card. It doesn't specify that you can't discard that card that you drew. So you can do it with Grapha as well. So it's just like Foolish Burial, where you have to have a card that you control, a fiend, right? No, Dark World. But then you can use Dark Corridor to get this guy out. And then so you have to put 1 in your hand. But then if you have Foolish Burial, then you can get another card, which I actually is a pretty good fan of, because it pairs well with Foolish Burial and Dark Corridor. It's Beige. I don't remember what he is, what Dark World thing he is, but he basically says if he's discarded by card effect to the graveyard, then you can special summon him. So you use Foolish Burial for Grapha or something. Then you used so you're gonna need one extra Dark World monster for this. This is a play I'm basically saying right now. You need Dark World on the field. Use Dark World or Foolish Burial. I highly suggest Foolish Burial to summon Grapha, and then what you do is you take one of those Dark World monsters, whatever it was. So then this card is discarded. Then you use Dark Corridor to add one Dark World monster from your deck to your hand, and then you discard Beige because it says you have to discard a card. Then you special summon with his effect, and then you use the fusion monster with another spell card that's in that deck. But again, like I said, I don't think I have time. I'm already at 10 minutes, 11 minutes actually. So I might not have time, but who knows? I might go over half of it. So time for the spell cards that are not really good in this deck, but they're good in any deck. First one I have is Raigeki or Raigeki. I don't know how to pronounce that. If you guys know, please leave a comment. But it says destroy all monsters your opponent controls. Not flipping a coin, not discarding a card. It just says destroy all monsters your opponent controls, which is very good in any deck, to be honest. You have a Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon that does 9,000 damage. You use Raigeki, and then you get rid of all the cards that your opponent controls, and then you use that ultimate Blue Eyes White Dragon to one hit KO or one shot your opponent automatically winning the game. Raigeki is a powerful card in any deck. But again, you don't have to add it in this deck. I'm just saying it's really good. Then we have Pot of Duality. I'm a big fan of the pots. If I had a Pot of Greed, I would have made an entire deck of pots. Jar of Greed, which I consider one, but the monster. A Pot of Avarice is another good one, but I don't have it in here. But it says excavate the top 3 cards of your deck, which basically means discard, I'm pretty sure, or just reveal. Add one of them to your hand. Also, after that, shuffle the rest back into your deck. You can only activate one Pot of Duality per turn. You cannot special summon during the turn you activate this card. You basically look at the top 3 cards of your deck, and you put one in your hand, but you cannot special summon. So it's good. Very situational if you need a monster out there. But if it's like you have a really good play and you have really good hand, don't use Pot of Duality. But I have it in there just for that. So next one we're going over is trap cards. They're pretty short descriptions, so that shouldn't take as long. First we have Gust, which is basically so it's like when one of your magic so one of your magic or spell cards, if you're newer to Yu-Gi-Oh, so I'll just say spell cards. If one of your spell cards are destroyed by card effect, battle effect, doesn't really matter, then you basically can destroy one of your opponent's traps or spells. Spells are trap cards. Yeah, except from the field of the graveyard. So, yeah, it's a very good card. If your opponent has a really good magic card or a spell card, or if they have a really good trap card. So, next one is Time Seal, which is again a very good one, but again it's situational. Not as much as Pot of Duality, definitely not. No other card is, but it basically skips the draw phase of your opponent's next turn. That's what it does. So your opponent's next turn, they cannot draw, which is good. But again, just like Raigeki and Pot of Duality, it can be used in any deck. All the trap cards I added in can be used in any deck, so it's not really just for this. Now Torrential Tribute, it's good in any deck if it's based on discarding. And guess what we have here? A discard with card effect card, or deck. Torrential Tribute. This says when a monster is summoned, destroy all monsters on the field. So basically, you have a really good play, right? But so you have Grapha, and Beige on the field already. What you can do is you can use you can you can put Torrential Tribute right there. And you can, but before you do that, you can lay down a Dark World monster. You put the Torrential Tribute right there, face down, so that way, because they can still be activated face down. But so that way when you do it afterward, so that way it doesn't affect, just so it doesn't, you know, the affect the or activate the effect. Why was I struggling on that? But yeah, it's a good card in discarding cards. Now, the moment we have my 3 monster cards. So, like I said, what was it? It was Dark Corridor. How Dark Corridor is really good with Minar, or can go good with Minar. It says, when this card is discarded directly from your hand to the graveyard by an effect of a card controlled by your opponent. Actually, Dark Corridor does not go with it now. Okay, never mind. Inflict 1,000 points of damage to your opponent's life points. So that's a pretty good card. So it can be directly discarded from your hand. It cannot be from the field, which is very situational. Again, they have to have that. You have to be going against that kind of person. But Minar is a pretty good card in my opinion. It's a 3-star, does pretty decent attack, and has pretty decent defense. Next monster is Souls of the Forgotten, which is a normal, so it doesn't have an effect. But it's a 2-star, attack 900, defense 200, 900 and 200. So it's supposed to be a glass cannon. You're not really supposed to have it. If you have other cards, you're not really supposed to have it in defense position. But if it's the only thing you got, I highly suggest you put it in attack. Always put it in attack. Or if your opponent has like a Blue Eyes White Dragon out there, and it will definitely knock it out, put it in defense. So the heavy hitter, that can be very good, I guess. Now to the final card, which I think is probably the best monster, in my opinion, to help out this deck. I have Unchained Soul Lord of Yama. A big description. He's a link monster that needs 2 fiends. In this entire deck, except for Minar, every single monster is fiends. So you're gonna have like a 99% chance, maybe like a 99.98% chance that you're gonna pull a fiend because of Minar. His first effect is if this card is special summoned, you can add 1 Unchained monster from your deck or graveyard. We're not going to be focusing on that. We're going to be focusing on his second effect. If a card you control is destroyed by battle or card effect while this card is in your graveyard, and remember, and just like I said, by card effect, so it doesn't have to be your opponent directly, it could be you. Controlled by battle, you control is destroyed by battle or card effect while this card is in your graveyard, you can banish this card, special summon 1 fiend monster from your hand or graveyard. Then you can destroy 1 card you control. That is really good with this deck. It has discarding cards, which is basically in here. It has special summoning cards, which is in here. And it has destroy by battle or card effect by your card as well, or your opponent's. It's really good. It's a really good monster, but it is a link monster, so you have to have at least 2 fiend monsters on the field. But if you're able to get this guy and this guy out on the field, which both of them combined will do 5,200 damage, you can hit very heavily. And if you're going against a Blue Eyes White Dragon person, I'm using Blue Eyes because it's a really good card. It hits really well. So if you're going against a Blue Eyes White Dragon person, you will knock him out because you're 200 over. Yeah, but that's my deck. 20 minutes right now, so I'm probably going to end the video here. If you guys enjoyed, please consider subscribing. If you enjoyed me talking about Yu-Gi-Oh! You want to see more Yu-Gi-Oh! Things or other card games, please let me know. Comment down below, and